fishing.
How is it going, boys and girls? Welcome back to Key West Waterman. My name is Aaron Young. It is a beautiful winter day down here in the Florida Keys. About 70 out, light wind, 5 to 10. It was supposed to be, truth be told, I'm going to complain about the weather, man. That's pretty much all I do on this channel is complain about the weather, man. But they were calling 15 to 20 out of the southwest, which is a really nasty wind for us. And I woke up this morning and looked off the balcony, and it was an absolute slicker. So I got all my stuff together and decided I'd run out here for a little bit and do some fishing. I had some leftover chum from a dive trip that I didn't want to go to waste, so I figured today we'll do some yellowtail snapper fishing. One of the most popular fish in the Florida Keys, yellowtail snapper. They're a reef fish. I get tons of questions about where to catch them, how to catch them, when to catch them. So we'll go over some of those thoughts today. I'm not an expert on yellowtail, but I've spent enough time fishing for them that I'm pretty confident that I can go out and catch a few. But that's what we're going to do today. I'll go over my reels, I'll go over my hooks, bait, rigs, the technique and all that, the spot that I'm fishing, and we'll see if we can put some yellowtail on the boat. All right, so before we get started, I'm going to talk about what it is I'm fishing, like what structure I'm fishing, and we'll talk about my setup. So my setup, this is a Travala 7.0 medium light. It's got a 5,000 Saragosa on it. I did bring the smaller inshore reel just in case they're cooperating. It'd be really fun to put some big ones in the boat with that little reel, but this is what I'm fishing. I've got monofilament on it, 20-pound monofilament, and then the leader, it's going to depend on the current, how the fish are behaving, the visibility, and stuff like that. The bottom that I'm working, it's a roll-off. It goes from about 50 to about 115, 120-ish, and for some reason in the late winter, early spring, I've had big yellowtail stack up here. The reason I know they're here is because I've caught them here before. We'll talk a little bit more about my thoughts while I'm fishing about, locating yellowtail and all that stuff, but that's what I'm working today. Again, the reason I am here is because I've caught them here before, put the time in, happened upon them, and hopefully they're here today. We'll see. But the mission today is to catch big yellowtail. Yellowtail go anywhere from 12 inches. 12 inches is the legal size. I've seen them up to 7, 8, 9 pounds. I think the biggest I've ever personally caught is probably about 6.5 pounds, which is a giant yellowtail. So we're going to target big ones today. That's the mission. If we get any, over 16, 18 inches, I'd be pretty thrilled. I can't remember if I said it. The reason I like monofilament on my yellowtail rods is monofilament sinks. Braid tends to float, and when you're fishing for these yellowtail, you want your bait to float with the current, or if there's no current, you want it to sink down as naturally as possible. And monofilament sinking helps that process. When braid floats, it resists the bait a little bit, but you can catch plenty on braid. I've caught a ton of them on braid, but if I have the option, I prefer to use monofilament. All right, so I've got a bare hook. When it comes to bigger yellowtail, they're a lot smarter. They've got a lot sharper eye. So typically I'm gonna fish a bare hook depending on the current. With yellowtail, you really have to be able to adapt. If the water's really clear, you gotta use a lighter leader, smaller hook, less weight on it. Sometimes down to a bare hook. If the water's a little dirtier, you can get away with more. The biggest thing is if they're not cooperating, scale down and try and be more stealthy. The bigger ones are really smart. So I'm gonna take that little bait, I'm gonna hide it in there just like that. And I'm gonna take some sandball mix. It's literally just sand and chum mixed together. We used to visit back in the 90s before I moved down here with my dad, and we had people in the 90s show us this trick. A lot of people will mix glass minnows or the mahua in there as well, but it's just sand and chum and it sinks. Helps the bait sink down. It's the Trojan horse method. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drop this, leave my bail open, and kind of watch the screen. If it'll stay on the screen, it doesn't look like there's much current, I can watch it, but a lot of times if I can't see it on the screen, I'll just count and do it a few times and trial and error. You get it to bust about the depth that you want it. 1, 2. So I'm just gonna let that go straight down. I can see it on the screen. I'm about 50 feet, 60 feet. So all I'm gonna do is stop it, and that ball is gonna explode and create a cloud of commotion. And now all I'm gonna do is just feed this line out. I want that bait to sink naturally. We'll see if we can get lucky here. And all I'm looking for, it's not gonna be a nibble or a thump, the line is just gonna start going, if they're down there. I haven't fished this spot in quite some time, so. There's a lot of assumptions going on. And the biggest thing is I don't want to pull on the bait. I don't want to stop it. I don't want any resistance. I want it just naturally floating there in the water column. Yeah, there's like no current today. Maybe a trickle with the wind. A lot of yellowtail fishing is going to be current driven. You're going to put a chum block in a bag. That's the traditional way to do it, but there's zero current today. So that's why, oop, it just ran right out of my hand. That feels like a good one, whatever it is. Come on, baby. And that monofilament gives you a lot of stretch when you have to scale down. My leader's 15 pound. Oh, barracuda, are you kidding me? Well, I got the majority of them. That was a slob yellowtail. Look at the size of that. Barracuda. What I have left is 13 inches. And I'm missing about, I don't know, 8 inches off the tail. Well, we know they're here. We also know that there are predators here. If I can get away with it, I may have to scale up to 20 pound leader and put the brakes on these. But that was a slob yellowtail, first drop. So I beefed up my leader to 20 pounds, see if I can get away with it. So I can try and put a little more pressure on these and get them past that barracuda. I actually snapped the eye off the top of my rod during all the commotion. I couldn't tell if I hit the T-top or I was so worried about the barracuda, I'm not sure what happened. This rod's about probably 4 or 5 years old, so I'm honestly surprised it lasted that long. And down we go. So I'm sitting, to be clear, I'm sitting at the very bottom of that roll-off. It goes from 50 all the way down to about 115, 120-ish. I'm sitting at the very deep side. The shallow stuff, oh, I got caught on the way down. I don't think it went far enough. But the shallow stuff is right here behind me. So that edge is 100 feet behind the boat. So that little bit of trickles pushing that chum into the edge of the reef and pulling those yellowtails off. I might have to redo that one. I was talking, I'm not sure how far it even went down. And finding new yellowtail spots, you just gotta go and look. Use your bottom machine. Yellowtail are typically gonna be in a ball, small marks up off the bottom. They're gonna be in the water column somewhere. And a lot of times you can't tell how big they are until you put chum out and have them come up to the boat. 4, 5, 6, about 22 seconds-ish. It's putting me at about 60, 70 feet. So I'm up in the column, not on the bottom. Now I just want to let this drift. Another tip, put your bail on the bottom. That way when they do bite, you just smack the bottom of the reel. You're not trying to scramble and find that bail. And you don't have to fish deep for big yellowtail. I've caught giants in like 30 feet of water. Anywhere from, I'd say your average yellowtail spot's gonna be anywhere from 40 to 80, but there are, you know, exceptions on both ends. That was full throttle. Little heavier leader, so hopefully it holds. I want to beat that barracuda. Oh my gosh, you guys have got to see this thing. This is bigger than the first one. And it's still got its tail on it. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Get it in the sun. Oh, I'm way out of frame here. Look at that. A beautiful full-size yellowtail. That's a beauty. Brain and bleed. So I've got a little bit of, tiny bit of fray on the line right there from that last fish. Not worth chancing it. Retie it. Got to make every chance count on these. I pretty much do a uni for everything. Slide that. There we are. Let's go. And you can catch these big ones the traditional way if you got current in the right conditions. I'm just doing this because I had leftover chum. When you get the big ones back behind the boat or up behind the boat, it's a riot. All right, bail open. It's a good thing you can't smell through the camera because that chum is rotten. Been in that cooler for about a week. Been on ice, but still it's smelly. I'm just watching that line, watching the loop, bail on the bottom, ready to smack it. I think the biggest thing with yellowtail is adapting to their mood. Like I said, some days they'll eat anything, they'll come right up to the chum immediately. You can put any big hook, doesn't matter, heavy leader. Some days you have to really be delicate with them. You just have to adapt to what it is that they want. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna... Oh, oh my gosh, what is going on? Right when I said I wasn't gonna... That had to be all the way on the bottom. I was about to give up. This one feels a little smaller maybe, or a different species. No, nice yellowtail. Right when I was about to give up. I need to reline this reel, I was about out of line. What a beautiful fish. Just to give you an idea, that one's 19 inches. Always like to brain them, put them out of their misery. I know if anyone ever catches me, I just don't want to lay in a cold cooler. Take me out. Just to give you an idea on the big one. 22 and a half on that big one. Just gonna let them bleed out for a little longer. I need to switch to that other reel. Somehow smacked that rod tip off. When that barracuda came in, I'm gonna switch to the smaller one so I'm not ruining the rest of the eyes. I don't know what I just hooked. I was reeling up what I thought was a bare hook, and something just smacked it. Maybe a mackerel? I don't know what this is. I had that one bite. And I was reeling it up. Because I thought I lost my bait. And something literally on the way up just smacked it and ran. Maybe a mutton or a mackerel? I don't want to put too much tension on it. Pretty light leader, 20 pound. It's almost fighting like a snapper. Not a yellowtail though. Maybe an amberjack? Trying to brainstorm here. Typically stuff doesn't eat it on the way up. It's either a big mutton or a jack. Yeah, I had a feeling. Just a little baby jack. That was such a weird bite. Just a little guy. Fun catch. Down he goes. All right, this is my last one on this one, and I'm gonna switch back either to 15 pound or switch to the monofilament reel. Maybe I'll put it on this rod. Whatever it is, they caught on to what I was doing. Oh, I get lucky. Oh, something ate it. That felt like a grouper. Black grouper ate it, swam in a hole. No, just swam straight down. Dang it! Everything likes to eat yellowtail. I'm not getting that back. Why do the big fish always eat when I switch to the tiny rod? Yeah, that felt more like a grouper than it did a shark. So hopefully he's full. Just want to catch one on the little reel, man. Come on. All right, so I'm adapting. I put like a maybe 20, 25 foot leader on this one to separate the braid and the mono a bit. I went down to 15 because I did a few in a row there that didn't have anything. That feels different. I don't know what that is. I didn't eat like a yellowtail. It's a little heavier. I've only got 15 on there now, so I gotta be delicate. I don't think that's a yellowtail. The old white margate. You swallowed that thing, didn't you? You swallowed it, so I'm gonna fortunately leave it in there. That is a white margate, or what you call, some people call a silver snapper. Not what I'm after. You can't eat them. Tastes like a big grunt. The yellowtail may have gotten wise on me. I may try a couple more, but I'm probably gonna end up moving. It seems like they've caught on to the game. Hey! Caught somebody's bank sinker. Always take some free lead. So this is my next spot. I caught the end of it, I just dropped the anchor, but it's the same thing. It comes up from like 60, 70, rolls off, and I anchored up in front of it, and I'm gonna drift back. So I should sit the boat somewhere around right here. And I'm gonna start doing the same thing. Like I said, I did a test drop, dropped a couple, and I didn't hook anything, but the bait was picked. I think there's filefish down there or something. But I'm gonna give this one a go. That is what I'm looking at. I don't know what that is. It's not thrilled about being hooked. That may have been a grouper. Whatever that was had weight on it. Missed it. There we go. See if I can identify what the big mark is on the bottom. Ah! Something bigger grabbed it but missed it. Oh, look at the shark. So they are giant yellowtails on the bottom. There's also giant sharks on the bottom. So they are down there. I've been here, look at the shark got his tail. I've been here about an hour. And I'm trying to be patient because I've gotten them here before and I have good marks on the screen. I just had to, like I said, adapt. And you won't believe me. I started with a light rod, I went down to 15, really long leaders, back to mono, picked up the big rod, and instead of breaking it mid-column, I'm letting it go all the way to the bottom, popping it just barely and laying it down. And that's 40-pound fluorocarbon. And a big smart yellowtail ate 40-pound fluorocarbon. So again, you just have to adapt. I don't know if that was pure luck, but we're gonna try again. It's not every day I catch flag yellowtail on the bottom in 110 feet, but you never know. I was about to give up, to be honest, but there's a really good mark on the screen on the bottom. And I really wanted to know what it was. And it seems the yellowtail are just hanging deep instead of coming up and meeting my ball mid-column. I do have a block of chum, but there's not enough current. I don't think I could get them to come all the way up into the chum slick. So I'm gonna stick with the sand balls. Yeah, baby. Big ones. Woo. I deserve that. Big, beautiful yellowtail. Never gets old. Oh, look at the porpoise. Checking us out. Camera should pick it up, hopefully, over there. I kid you not. I did all that preaching about being stealthy, about trying to outsmart the big ones. 40-pound fluorocarbon. And I'm catching flag yellowtail. Pretty wild. Oh, porpoise. Just when I think I got it figured out, they teach me something new. Every time. You can never know it all. Not gonna give it much longer. The wind picked up a lot. Ooh, that is a jumbo. That is a jumbo. These are whoop, pulled out right there. They're just so fun to catch. Just never gets old. Really good fight, great eat. Yellowtail snapper. So I'll show you on the screen here. They were sitting real low earlier. I think I took a clip of that, but they're starting to move up a little bit. I don't know if the predators left or what it is, but they're starting to come up more in the column. The wind's really picking up. I think I've got 7 right now, but I've got a little bit of chum left, so I'm just gonna fish until I'm out of chum, and then I actually brought the grill with me, so we're gonna fillet one of these snappers up, head into one of the islands, and we'll have lunch here in a bit, but I'm gonna try a few more. I'm having too much fun. I wasn't fast enough. You got me that time. I was fast enough that time. Oh, that was a shark. That was a shark. I felt him eat it. Yep. Cut me off there. I'm gonna call it at that. I'm thrilled. I don't want to sit here and feed sharks. As much fun as I'm having, it's not worth sitting here and killing a bunch of fish that I don't get to eat. Once the sharks get a hold of a couple, they claim the spot. Not too bad. Some really nice ones. The smallest one in there is probably, I don't know, 18 inches. Biggest probably 22. I mean, those are full-size yellowtail. Managed 7.5 of them. Lost a couple on lighter leader, 1 or 2 to sharks, but I'll call it a win. I'm done out here. I'm gonna go hide, find a spot to hide from the wind. And like I said, I got my little burner with me, so I'm gonna have some lunch. I have absolutely nowhere to be. Madeleine's out with a friend this afternoon, so I'm in no rush. I'm gonna enjoy the afternoon. Seems like a good spot. I reckon it'll do. So I'm gonna have myself a little lunch. I'm just gonna knock one side off this thing. This snapper got grabbed by that barracuda, but even what's left is like 2 pounds. And there ain't no way I'm eating that whole fish in one sitting, so I'm just gonna take one side off. I'm gonna scale it first. All right, so scales off that one side. I'm just gonna take that side down. And if you watch the channel, you know I'm a huge fan of letting fish rest. But the smaller the fish, the faster it rests. So like if you have yellowtails or mangroves or anything smaller, if you ice it really well in 4 or 5 hours, sometimes a little less, the meat will completely rest and get that soft feel to it. And this one does, I can feel it. Give some to the locals. Take those, some pin bones right here, go down right down the center. That big old beautiful chunk of yellowtail right there. I'm gonna leave that skin on too. I wash the knife and the table with soap for all the germaphobes. Do some little chunks since we're leaving that skin on. That looks great. So what are we having? I actually brought a couple stone crab claws just in case I didn't catch anything, but I kind of been picking at those all day. I brought a salad, lettuce, some hothouse cucumber, and avocado. And this stuff, I actually really like this stuff. Garlic expressions vinaigrette. If you sear fish, any type of light, mild fish, it goes really well with that salad dressing. Believe it or not, we eat healthy sometimes. A little bit of olive oil. Or, excuse me, avocado oil, actually. Woo! Man, this burner don't mess around. Just a little bit of salt and pepper. Does not take much when the fish is fresh. Man, this new burner does not mess around. That crap got hot. Whoa, a little heavy on the dressing. So I want these to cook most of the way through on one side. Try and get that skin to crisp up a little bit. Oh yeah, baby. Look at that crunch. The crunchies, baby. Yeah, that is done. Got the crunchies. Oh yeah. What a cool little spot. I've actually got an osprey nest right here. I'll zoom in on it, and then must be a couple because there's another one over here. This one's squawking and this one is just hanging out. Pretty neat. Uh-oh. Something just got eaten. Well, let's try some of this fish. Mmm. They're crunchies. You can't go wrong with them. If I have food all over my face, I apologize. That's all I have for this one. It's another lovely day. As always, I appreciate your time. I really do. Thanks for coming along, watching the videos. I really enjoy this. It's a creative outlet. It's a hobby. It's a passion. I make a living off of it now. It's just hard to believe. I get to come out here and do this. I'm going to keep enjoying it. You keep watching. Any questions? First hour from the release of the videos, Mondays, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Any questions? Love some feedback. You got any feedback? I will see you on the next one. Later.